Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Goddamn Gamecube. Greg and Riley are your hosts today, and today we are discussing one of the silliest games I've ever played.
Silliest?
Very silly. We are discussing Quantum Break, which is a 2016 action-adventure third-person shooter video game developed by Remedy and published by Microsoft Studios for Windows and Xbox One. This episode is a part of our mini-series on Remedy Entertainment. Quantum Break was supposed to be a sequel to Alan Wake, but Microsoft wanted a new IP with interactive storytelling, and oh boy.
Well, we got it.
Oh, we certainly got it.
Okay, so right off the bat, I want to mention that during Xbox's presentation at Gamescom 2014, Microsoft Studios had reported that Quantum Break was slated to be one of Xbox's new flagship franchises, placing it alongside the Gears of War and Halo series in terms of importance.
And if anyone else is thinking, what? They did? I think that probably goes to show you how well this game did, which was poorly.
Not very. Yeah, this game is set very close to home here, Riverport, Massachusetts, which is a fake city. It is described in-game as the Detroit of the East Coast.
Okay.
You play as this character called Jack Joyce. He's Jack Joyce. I don't know what he does. Is he a mercenary of some kind? Is that what he...
Clearly he has a lot of abilities with weapons and espionage.
So the problem, right off the bat, so we're getting into issues right off the bat here. As soon as you get a gun for the first time in this game as Jack, he says... I mean, I'd fired a gun before, but I'm not an expert or anything. And then he just clears several rooms full of SWAT troops like John Wick.
Yeah.
What is the direction for this character?
I feel like right away you get some perhaps poor character motivations or poor characterization by Remedy again here.
This is just very basic premise stuff, what we're getting into here.
And I'll tell the audience, I believe Riley read almost every single file and every single piece of supporting evidence to try to understand this.
The story.
Yeah.
Quite a few, because I never do that,
Yep.
And I'll say that these documents are long, and they're full of information, facts, but none that helped me untangle the web of Quantum Break, as it were.
Okay, so whoever Jack is, or whoever Jack Joyce is, his friend Paul Serene, which is so goddamn funny.
That name?
The name is so fucking funny, dude. His friend Paul Serene is a tech mogul, and he invites Jack to be part of a secret time traveling... I can't even get through this.
You got him, man. We got a lot to get through here. So, his friend Paul Serene is a tech mogul, and he invites Jack to be part of a secret time travel experiment that winds up breaking time. Both of you get time travel powers. Here we go. It's a
school
night,
to be
man.
professional here. Both of you get time travel powers. It starts speeding up, rewinding. And within a few days, they expect it to permanently freeze. So it's essentially a third-person shooter with time travel powers. But there are also branching narrative paths to certain moments in the story.
Yeah,
oh my God.
All that information is true. I keep trying to convince Greg that good time travel stories are possible, but games like this are not really doing my cause any favors.
No, not at all.
The only hard and fast time travel rule in this game seems to be that you can't travel back further than when the first time machine was created.
Okay.
They also say that you can't change the past, but we will interrogate that one later on.
Yep. I would say put a pin in that, audience.
Put a pin in that one, yes.
We should also mention that essential elements of the story are communicated via a television show that doesn't work. So we had to watch it on YouTube. I'm going to laugh through this whole thing. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, even if you watch it on YouTube, you are still missing vital details because there are so many variations.
Yep.
Beyond the binary junction points at the end of each act, there was also a quantum ripple you interact with that changes what you see in the TV episodes.
Correct.
And if I could interject on this right away,
Yeah.
this game and Microsoft wanting it to be a flagship title, this game is just a perfect example of the shitstorm that was Microsoft's 2014 era marketing.
Yeah.
The sort of your Xbox is your all-in-one entertainment box. Like, it's your gaming console, it's your cable box. Like, this era is fucking rough, dude. Like,
this was like the era where I'm like, what games are transforming into? Do I even like games anymore?
I know.
You know?
Rough year.
And when it comes to the TV show, the message that I got was unable to connect to streaming service.
Me too.
So you complete a chapter and then the TV episode is supposed to start, and that's the message you get. Supposedly, the TV show works fine on Steam. I was playing it on Xbox Game Pass for the PC.
Yep.
The alternative for us would have been downloading the 4 episodes, which take up 75 gigs.
And I'll have you know, after inquiring with every single gaming-friendly person in my friend group, I know 0 people who watch the show. I know none who actually watched the show.
It was not like a show that they put on, you know, like advertise, right? It was like a supplementary thing.
Sure, it's a
to the
supplementary
game.
thing that you could watch.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who has any interest in this.
Well, yeah.
Let's talk gameplay, unless you have anything else.
No, that's it for me on the premise. So I don't necessarily feel like every game should play the same, but this one felt really floaty to me.
Yes, very.
So many other aspects of the production feel semi-modern. You know, this Xbox Blitz, like look what the Xbox One is capable of.
Sure.
But it still feels like Max Payne at times, also developed by Remedy, so one of their older games. It feels like your character model is exerting himself way too much relative to how slow he's moving.
Sure, like character movement and basic actions feel odd.
Yeah, just out of sync. I think it's really annoying how the game initially encourages you to search around for the additional lore, and whenever you take the time to read an email or pick up a note or whatever, one of the characters, even your own character, is telling you to hurry up.
Yeah.
I read like all these emails in the hopes of understanding the narrative better. Just did not do anything for me.
Yep.
I think the checkpoints are so bad. If you die in an encounter, it will set you way, way further back than it should.
I have a small Greg note. I actually did not get a single game over until the final boss.
No, it's. I wouldn't say it's a hard game, but if you run into like, you know, oh yeah, I killed an explosion or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I got
a platforming segment.
So yeah, something stupid. It will set you back. You have to listen to all this dumb dialogue over again. Yep. It's just like, oh my fucking God. Another like very minor problem, just basic gameplay stuff. Each D-pad direction is locked to like a certain weapon class.
Yes.
Like, why can't I just have the 2 primary weapons I want?
I don't know.
Like, you have to have an assault rifle.
Yes.
Like, you can't have shotgun and SMG or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, like it's or pistol.
And it all ends up becoming kind of meaningless anyway, because like the enemies and stuff is just
guys.
It's just dudes. Like it doesn't matter. But
no, it's just kind of annoying that you can't. You don't even have that very basic level of freedom.
No, I know. You want to get into more mechanics, systems, that kind of stuff?
Yes. So I think there's a version of this game where the combat does rip, but it's not quite there, I don't think.
Yep, correct.
I guess it's nice that the shotguns actually have some range, but overall, like, it's just kind of whatever, right?
Sure, like, it kind of reminds me of, like, an unsatisfying, like, version of Time Shift or Fear. Like, it's not visceral enough, and it feels a little bit too goofy for how much violence there is.
Yeah, it's kind of treating it with kid gloves. How did you feel about the time powers? I thought most of them felt like terrible to use.
So I actually made use of most of them. I felt they all had a purpose for the most part, but the enemy variety is so small that I didn't feel like any of my moves were very strategic. I was just kind of doing whatever.
Shit.
Yeah. It didn't really matter.
I just feel like for a time travel game, it should feel cooler, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't.
Doesn't really.
Kind of just feels like a Ubisoft game.
Not in my experience.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the skill progression in this game, but it's not fleshed out like nearly enough.
Yep.
I think the upgrades don't seem that worthwhile at all. Why is there platforming in this game?
I don't know. I would say the platforming is fucking pointless. Like the game points out every time manipulation object and every climbable surface anyway. It just does it for you.
Yeah.
So
it's not quite glued like Uncharted, where
Sure.
you're glued to the surface, but it feels like such a tacked on thing to me.
Yeah, correct.
On paper, I like the branching path moments with Paul Serene, where he's looking into the future. These two alternate futures, and you have to pick one. It's a cool idea, but
I just, number one, every time you say Paul Serene, I just think it's so funny. But ultimately, like the branching paths are ultimately empty.
Yeah.
Like the game is essentially linear. You're making choices for a shitty TV show that no one liked and can no longer watch.
yeah, essentially. I mean, like, because I don't know how far into the TV show we want to get, but it's not like prestige TV quality.
Sure.
You know.
Okay.
So you're right that it just feels very like I'm not that invested in,
No, of course,
in these characters or what happens to them.
Did you want to go right into fidelity unless you had anything else?
Yes. So for starters, like you see a couple characters at different ages, and I don't think there's enough visual distinction between young and old characters like Paul Serene. I think in general some more vivid like costuming or styling would have helped.
Sure, like the note I have here is like, you don't like the generic 41-year-old handsome mogul? Our love supreme? Our Paul Serene?
So what is it about Paul Serene that's so funny? I think because he's played by a very funny actor, Aidan Gillen, who's kind of a ham in a lot of roles. I think he's actually pretty good in this. But his whole thing is so boring and so like his motives are so hard to really grasp. And
I think like the joke I was making to you off mic was he just kind of seems like if Microsoft's CFO was the villain.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make any sense.
His name is stupid. Paul Serene, like he's anything but. He's crazy.
I think Remedy is guilty of that. Like, you know, whether it's Alan Wake 2 and Saga Anderson, or it's oh no, it's a game about books that's so cute.
Yeah.
Or like Paul Serene and come on.
You know what? I think it's also like if you wanted to do that, like Kojima really goes nuts for shit like that.
Sure.
It's
Die Hardman.
Yeah, or Heartman and like stuff like that. And it's I don't want to say it works incredibly for me, but I think it works better than this because he's a little bit more in on the joke.
Sure.
This feels like I don't believe there's someone out there named Paul. Maybe there is, but like in terms of it just doesn't feel like. It feels like too cute.
Yeah,
in a
it's
way.
very cute.
You know what I mean? Like in a way it's not roping you in on it. And I think he's just such a bland character, and people say Paul Serene so much.
Yeah, it's funny
that it becomes funny. Still in the visual stuff, the Chronon upgrades I don't think stand out visually. They're basically these white lights that you have to.
It's like the Prince of Persia
collect.
sand in Sands
I
of
feel
Time.
like they should just be very visible once you scan them.
So what I was going to immediately say was I appreciate you bringing that up because what was so annoying to me was you can constantly like Batman scan your environment for these upgrades, but unless your scan is active, like you can't see it.
Right.
It's so annoying.
It's basically like X-ray vision if you don't know what we're talking about. And I really hate that trend from this era of like turning like Assassin's Creed Eagle Vision to find like hidden interactables, because it's like you're looking at like this completely different. Like you're not looking at the actual world. You're looking at like X-ray vision.
Correct. And you're always spamming it. It's so annoying.
I don't know if you noticed this. I thought the nav marker looked really similar to the Y button prompt.
Correct. Yes, it does.
It looks very similar. So I'm like, wait, should I not? Oh, that's the objective marker.
Yeah.
Okay. I do think it looks pretty cool when time breaks, like when it's like splintered reality.
It's all fucked up.
It's kind of interesting, like shattered glass. And I think it's cute how the Monarch Company logo turns into an hourglass when you're waiting for something to load. Just a tiny little thing that I wish had been, you know, kind of their philosophy for the rest of the experience.
The rest of the experience.
You know.
All right. Do you want to talk about, let's go into some sound stuff, some voice acting stuff.
Yes.
Believe it or not, like I actually think the voice acting is one of the stronger parts of the game, even if the stuff they have to say is very stupid.
Because I think the cast is pretty, it's a little bit of celebrity stunt casting, like, you know, not superstars or anything.
There's some big names.
I can run down them really quick. Sean Ashmore plays Jack. I know him as Iceman from the X-Men movies, but he's been in a couple solid things. Dominic Monaghan was also briefly an X-Man himself, but most notably Mary from Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
And Charlie from Lost. And you have 2 Wire alums for the HBO show The Wire, Aidan Gillen as Paul Serene, and the late great Lance Reddick. Something really funny happened to me where I didn't know Lance Reddick was in this game. They don't tease this at all. The first time you get control of the character and gameplay starts, you run into Lance Reddick on the street.
Just right away.
Like, is that Lance Reddick?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And when you go up to him, he says, "Whatever you want, I don't have time." And when you turn around, he's gone. And it was so weird because I didn't know he was in the game. I think it's a good cast. I think Aidan Gillen is actually pretty good in the game. Like, he's kind of restrained for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I think all these people are doing the best they can with the material they have, you know?
Do you know what Aidan Gillen's performance kind of reminds me of?
What?
Kind of a Norman Jayden's performance in Heavy Rain.
Yeah, like really trying to suppress an accent.
Yeah, like nondescript 40-year-old dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though, Norman Jayden's not a villain, so they're different characters.
But they're really trying to flatten out their native accent. It's kind of similar. Still on sound, I think the gun sounds are good in this game.
Yes.
I think they rip pretty hard. And I don't really know how to describe this, but it also sounds really cool when time freezes. Like when it's like there's a scream or something that's like echoing like back and forth forever. Yep. I thought that was cool. And I think it is also cute how much they say the word time. Like they work it into dialogue pretty frequently. But the dialogue as a whole, I don't know if you had this impression. I think a lot of it is very like stupid.
Yes, it is. We're playing a Remedy game, so yes.
But like, there's one line where it's pretty early on. You're in the university campus, and you hear an NPC go, "This is a library. I need to return some fucking books." When he barges,
it's just like, did we need to spend the time to record that?
It's like a. But here's I think an interesting point to bring up is that some things about Remedy's development have matured and others have not. And that feels like a line that would fit better in Max Payne.
Yeah, correct.
Than this.
Than Paul Serene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So you ready for the story? You ready for the dog shit?
Let's be professional.
Oh, sorry. I'm not that sorry. Paul. Let's be professional for Paul Serene.
Yes.
So, all right, let's get in here. So Jack used to be friends with Paul Serene, who has been attempting to make a time machine using research from Jack's brother, Will. Paul asks Jack to help turn the time machine on.
Yeah.
In the process, Will shows up holding a gun and tells them if they don't stop what they're doing, time will break. Sure enough, the machine breaks and gives both Jack and Paul time travel powers.
Yes.
And it's just as stupid as you think it is.
So that's how it starts. My first note, because you have been telling me you've had an axe to grind with Remedy for some time, but this was one of my first forays with this developer.
Well, that sucks.
And I was trying to figure out, like, I see exactly what you mean almost right off the bat, where very basic things don't make sense.
Yes.
Like not even getting into the time travel, just like details, normal world
like
details.
Basic motivations, basic interactions.
First note I had here. Paul sends Jack a vague email asking to help save the time travel project. And this does not get flagged by company censors.
Nope. I guess he could just send it.
It's shown during the first TV show episode that they have this annoying like IT guy who is very attentive to this kind of thing. He's screening emails. If this was all planned and other people were on board with the time travel plan, why didn't he get their help instead of Jack?
Uh-oh. I think that you've now found the first flaw in the armor here.
Well, just hold on to your hat because I have more. This is a corporate-funded university research project to try and achieve time travel. A student protest against this corporation. They've been taking over the city. They're ruining all the old buildings, etc. It's been going on all night by the time you get there. And the most security they can muster out front of this time travel building is this plainclothes security guard who just lets you walk right in at 4 a.m. Even after if you keep talking to him, Jack keeps antagonizing him. And as soon as the shit hits the fan, they have like Rainbow Six like right on your ass. So what was this intentional? Did they plan this? Why is there just one guy sitting like there would be police, there would be security.
The first thing I had written down here was you showing up at 4 a.m. and the kind of interactions you have don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like if it's 4 a.m, there will be nobody here.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get immediately arrested for trespassing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you ever been anywhere at 4 a.m?
Even like especially university.
There's nothing. Like it doesn't make any sense.
But like considering that there's a protest going on, even more so.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't there be a response?
And also, why is there a protest going on at 4 a.m? If there's also, okay, all things being equal, let's say the protest was going on all night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's say that was happening. Wouldn't there be an active security presence?
Exactly.
Like, why is there one guy?
That's what I'm saying.
And also, no one would allow you in. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I just continue here?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So Jack and Will then meet older Paul, who tells them he has seen the end of time
Yeah.
and that the quantum break cannot be fixed.
He's right about that.
Yeah, that's the good one, dude. Paul blows up the building and they make it look like Will is crushed by falling debris.
Yeah.
Jack is knocked unconscious and captured by Monarch Organization henchmen, and then they play something by the Black Keys, the band.
That's right. So
I guess.
you said even your version of the game did not play any music.
No.
Which is very funny because every chapter ended with like Black Keys or Paramore or something like kind of needle drop, and it's so funny that you didn't even get that.
Mine was either bugged out or just nothing played at all.
Just nothing at all.
Isn't that amazing?
That's crazy. I don't know about you, but I did not buy Will's death for a second because it was very like
you never know.
Behind the scenes, you know, like if he had been like shot point blank, maybe, but it was just very like, all right, well, when's he gonna come back?
To be honest, I was already on autopilot at this point. Like I was already checked out where I didn't care.
It didn't really matter.
It didn't
one way
matter
or the
to
other.
me.
So this is where you have to watch the first TV show episode. I did not think it was very well put together overall, but it was neat that the first shot was of Lance Reddick tapping his watch. I was like, they had that one idea. That was
they had their one shot.
The one time reference there. It's a weird experience because I think they successfully humanized the security guard character by showing you like the corporations kind of got their hooks in everybody, and there's this plot turn where they think he's betraying them because they see it in the future, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. The issue is that he's a non-entity in the game itself.
Talking about Liam, the security guard.
Yes, besides the very beginning and the very end, he's really just like a show character, pretty much,
correct.
Which is crazy. It's funny how also when you're watching the TV show, the time distortion effect just looks like a streaming issue. Like it was like his YouTube breaking.
That's funny. You want me to continue here?
Yeah, go ahead.
So in the second act, you rescue one of the university students, either Nick or Amy, who agrees to help Jack. You also meet up with Beth, who is one of Will's friends, who is a double agent inside the Monarch organization. They find Will's time machine in an abandoned swimming pool complex and discover that he made a countermeasure to fix the fracture called the Chronon Field Regulator, CFR.
Yeah.
However, the time machine is inoperable and the CFR disappeared in 2010. The machine doesn't work, so they decide to abduct a Monarch scientist, Dr. Sophia Amaral, to fix it.
Yep. With the CFR, I just kept calling it the soccer ball.
Yeah.
That's what it looks
That's
like.
what it looks like.
You got to get the soccer ball back. So yeah, this part, Jack surrenders to Paul Serene so he and Beth can capture Dr. Amaral at this Monarch like party. He learns that after Paul went to the future, he returned to 1999 and built the company by profiting off his future knowledge of the stock market.
Insider trading?
Yeah. So my question is Paul one of the guys who profited off of 9/11? They bring it up a couple times in this game.
What I think is very funny, doesn't Beth mention at some point that she tried to stop 9/11?
Yes. So
come on, man.
Amongst like other like childhood traumas and stuff, there's like a journal entry and she's like, this is the big one. You're going to want to try to stop it. You're not going to be able to.
Oh my God. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
So moving on here, you find out Paul is dying from Chronon syndrome.
Yeah.
And he gets...
Hate to see it.
Yeah. And he gets mad because Dr. Amaral got kidnapped and someone I guess Martin destroyed all of his medicine.
Yes, Martin Hatch is played by Lance Reddick. He's his like assistant.
Yes. So as Paul, you choose to either trust the Dr. Amaral, or Lance Reddick.
Yeah.
If you choose Dr. Amaral, Paul has Lance Reddick arrested.
Yeah.
Jack and Beth force Dr. Amaral to repair the time machine. They plan to travel back to 2010 to steal the soccer ball because that's when it went missing.
Right.
So that's what we're doing here?
Yes. And this is where Dr. Amaral sabotages the time machine and sends Beth to the wrong time. So Jack goes to 2010 and he finds out that Beth has been waiting for him for 11 years.
And this is where the 9/11 thing happens, but
yes.
Keep going.
And Beth says she met the younger Paul and tried to kill him and failed before traveling back to 1999 and telling Will to make the soccer ball.
Okay. Is this where we should unpin our note from the beginning where someone says you can't go, like the past is written and you can't go back, but then you do?
It's going to keep coming up.
Yeah. So here we go. So coming up here, Beth and Jack find the soccer ball and Paul shoots Beth and kills her.
Yep.
The soccer ball sends Jack back to 2016 and causes Paul's Chronon syndrome. Paul is informed by one of his staff that he has one damaged dose of his treatment yet. As Paul, you either decide to take it or embrace his illness.
So this is the point where this is the last branching path that you can choose, and I love how the last path that you're given is whether or not you want Paul Serene to have a mental breakdown.
Because it doesn't really matter, right?
Like, yeah, but why is that a choice? Like,
I don't know.
Who would choose to have a mental breakdown?
I don't know.
It's crazy. This is also where you're going through the Monarch headquarters via the IT guy Charlie or Beth's friend Fiona. Charlie is redeemed in the TV show, but it felt completely unearned to me. He's been like this slobby asshole the entire story, and he just abruptly has a change of heart right at the end.
Correct. Like a lot of things in this game, I believe there's probably some missing content here, or it's just not fully thought out.
You know what it might have been is like, should we do this? No, the TV show will take care of it. Should we do this? No, the game will take care of it. You know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
kind of passing the buck.
But then none of it worked.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, you arrive at Paul's lab, and depending on your choices, you may have to fight a boss battle with Liam.
Yeah.
I think I did.
I did as well.
You find out that Paul was using the soccer ball to power a shelter where his team could figure out how to undo the end of time while protected from it. Jack can't use the soccer ball, so he goes back in time to the night of Will's quote-unquote death to ask for help.
Yes, and this is where Jack rescues Will from the falling debris, who tells him they can't use the soccer ball at that moment because it will ruin things further. Jack considers unfreezing Beth, but decides not to. They travel forward in time where Paul ambushes you, and you have a terrible boss fight that ends with Paul's death.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty...
Love Supreme is no more.
Dude, cruising with my Paul Serene, I guess, has come to an end.
That boss fight fucking sucked.
Yeah, it's very iconic, I guess, online where people don't understand how the boss fight works. I don't either.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's not just us.
Not just us, where he has this giant AoE attack that one hit kills you, and I didn't know what to do besides just run to the end of the arena and wait.
That's what I did.
Yeah. So I guess getting to the conclusions of the story, they plug the soccer ball into the time machine and Paul disintegrates.
Yes.
Jack has a premonition of himself traveling forward to the end of time and developing Chronon syndrome like Paul. Later, Jack is shown whispering in Beth's ear.
Or was it earlier?
Was it earlier? And it says he'll come back for her?
Yes.
So
can we change time or not is the question.
So I feel like, doesn't Will say to you, like, it's already been written, you can't go back, but then you do?
Yeah.
Is that right?
This whole thing is a fool's errand.
It's crazy.
Where you have, I think, a more airtight version of this is the Harry Potter one, where they go back in time. They can't change everything that happened was the result of them traveling back in time.
Right,
it's all
sure.
a closed loop, right?
Give us the post credits here.
The first line in the post credits is, "My patience is wearing thin," and oh boy, to like connect with the characters there.
Yeah.
So Jack is approached by Martin Hatch, the Lance Reddick character, who tells him that they blamed everything on Paul Serene, and he offers Jack a job at the organization. Then they show Jack at a junction point like the ones Paul was experiencing, but the game ends before you make a decision. My question here: Martin Hatch survived getting shot in the forehead, and he's a karate master.
Okay.
Like that's something that happens in the TV show. He does like karate stuff.
Oh, but which timeline is it in? Ooh.
But and he gets shot,
dude.
But he's fine. And I was like, did I watch the wrong episode? I didn't. So there is an email that pretty late in the game that says that he discovered a naturally occurring time machine in a cave.
Come on.
So he went around the
Sam Lake. Come
on. He's a nice guy.
Sam.
So, but is this how he survived? And why was he loitering around the parking lot at the beginning of the game?
The only thing I have for you here is that the whole game is completely insufferable anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I really don't think we can try to insert our logic into Sam Lake's brain.
Sure.
I think we're gonna say this a couple of times, like over the course of our Remedy stuff. Nice guy, but like I don't know about this one. Do you want to go to conclusions here? What do you got?
Yeah, well, I'll say maybe nice guy, but could benefit from someone like us to ask some questions.
You know, this could have been season 1 of goddamn GameCube. It could have been season 2. Where did we go on like a multi-episode tirade about us saying every game company needs to hire a guy who says no to stuff?
I think it was Resident Evil.
Was it the first series we did?
I think so, because there's a lot of stuff that could have used a no.
I really think Remedy should hire that guy.
Yeah.
Let's get to conclusions.
Yeah, I guess just kind of getting into my final thoughts here. This game is incredibly bland and boring, considering that it's supposed to be about time travel.
Yeah.
The level of urgency doesn't make any sense to me. Like, is time standing still or is it not? Everyone's like, oh, we got to rush. We're running out of time. And
yeah.
It's like, you're kind of freezing it.
Yeah.
Like, you're probably making up some good hours here. Emotionally, I found it completely unengaging.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what Paul Serene's motivation is or why we're fighting.
I don't either.
I think the cast is blameless, as well as anyone who worked on the aesthetic aspects. I don't think it's a disaster, but there's just no pulse to it. It feels unfinished. It feels like very too diffuse with the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
The only things that make it remarkable at all are the TV show aspect, which I don't like, and how emblematic it is of all the high-level issues that Microsoft Game Studios had during this era. It's very much like if you wanted to see what kind of stuff was being floated around that time.
What kind of stuff was being developed in 2015-ish.
This is it. This is what it looks like. So my last note is ass, and I will leave the rest to you.
Your last note is that it's ass. Okay. So we're really going to have a lot of similar opinions here. Like, I thought it was extremely bland.
Yeah.
It's a very good example of how much trouble Microsoft was having in 2014. Do you remember, like, they had to keep rolling back their Xbox One policies? No, the Kinect is mandatory. No, it's not. You always have to be online. Okay, no, you don't. And yeah, the Xbox can be your cable box. No one did it. Like, they were really getting beat up, like, at this point in time. And this is one of those examples.
It's one of those things where I don't necessarily think they are in a better spot right now, like, either, you know?
Well,
like
they're just in a different pickle.
Yeah.
It's just not this.
Yeah.
Like, I'll say, I don't like using the word hate. I try not to say it since season 1. I will say I hate time travel plots, interdimensional plots in most media. It's no different here. Like, the combat is fun, but it's very bland. It feels disconnected from the character stuff and the gameplay. The platforming is pointless. Like, it's done for you.
Yeah.
Like, the show sucks. Like, the one thing before we get to our grades, I just would like to talk to the audience about all of our inside jokes that we've had with this game. Can we take maybe 2 or 3 minutes to talk about that?
Yeah, why not?
So I want to talk about 2. One of them is Paul Serene, a love supreme.
Yeah.
Do you mind speaking on that just for a minute before we make this game go to summer school?
Yeah, I've been kind of familiarizing myself with the jazz classics lately, and John Coltrane has an album called A Love Supreme, and it's good. You know, it's great jazz. It's a classic album, but there's parts where he just keeps saying "A Love Supreme" over and over again. And this coincided with me hearing Paul Serene, so they kind of got entangled in my brain.
Okay, so like you didn't like find this online, like this wasn't a Reddit thing of people making fun of Quantum Break and saying it was a Love Supreme.
This was 100% my decaying brain coming up with a comparison here. So I kept like in my head hearing, instead of him saying "A Love Supreme," I kept hearing Paul Serene. Paul Serene.
And I think when you started doing that, I think I started saying I'm cruising with my Paul Serene.
Cruising with my Paul Serene.
Like, I guess on the show, people have probably noticed we're alternative music fans on this show. We might as well talk about music for a minute before we destroy this.
Yeah.
Like I was referencing Interpol. Like, you know, which album is it on? It's on El Pintor, I think.
Oh, is it?
They have that song, I think, Blue Supreme or Cruising in My Blue Supreme. And so I just kept singing it like I'm cruising with my Paul Serene.
Well, the problem is that and this is another game that it didn't review as well as their other games, but it reviewed pretty well.
I think it was like a 76, 77. I think
bad.
It's green.
Not bad. And it just makes me wonder, like, what is the metric here? Like, how is this good? You know, where everything that can be graded, you know, aesthetic stuff is about it, you know?
Do you think perhaps people were goosing the score a little? Because wasn't this a Microsoft exclusive game?
I suppose.
It was, right?
Yeah. So that might have been, I don't know.
Listen, we have to get right down to brass tacks here. We got to do grades.
Yeah.
Here we go. Are we going to go 1, 2, 3 and say it at the same time? Or
sure.
How do you feel?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
C minus.
Yeah.
C minus is it's boring grade.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that about something that, you know, hundreds of people worked on, but you know, like I said, I couldn't make something like this. But in terms of experientially and compared to other games we've covered, this would not be close to the higher end of the recommendations list.
No, I think our audience may see a trend here where we have, let's say we have some grievances with Remedy's games. I feel like we're going to talk about this a lot because we're going to be, you know, continuing to cover Remedy stuff. I just feel like there's a lot of basic stuff or basic character motivations or basic things that just feel wrong.
Yeah.
And it just keeps happening, like in these games. I don't know, man.
I think it's just a matter of focus and really you got to nail down like an emotional core.
Yeah.
And if you're going to attempt something like time travel, you really have to like think it through.
Yeah.
And how, you know, time traveling can undo the entire plot. And
yeah,
you know, like,
I don't know. So I think the last thing I want to say before we wrap here is I want to take 30 seconds to talk about the Remedy verse.
Sure.
Because it keeps happening.
Yeah.
Where if we, you know, over the course of time now, like Alan Wake came out, Quantum Break came out, Control came out, Alan Wake 2 came out. I was having a conversation with you about this where I said, like, you mean to tell me that, like, they're time traveling in Massachusetts, they're dealing with, like, paranormal, like, interdimensions in, like, New York, and then in like, Northwest Washington, like, horror stories are coming to life, but all these characters, like, know each other, and there's, like, like a central villain or something or an organization.
I think it's all Alan Wake's fault, right?
Oh my fucking God.
He keeps writing these things into existence.
He keeps writing the story of Paul Serene, of Love Supreme.
Serene. I don't know, man. What say we wrap up here and head over to Riverport and see what's going on over there.
All right. So anyway, thank you guys. This was our I almost called it a review, but this is kind of like, I guess, a tongue lashing of Quantum Break. We don't recommend the game or the show at all. And we will see you guys next time on Goddamn GameCube. Thanks.
Thank you for listening.